Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. Christian Parker stood at his workstation, fingers dancing across holographic keys as lines of code streamed across multiple floating screens. To his co-workers at Quantum Dynamics, he was just another brilliant but unremarkable programmer. None of them knew that his perfectly tailored suit concealed a body enhanced by Project Prometheus, or that his seemingly average appearance masked superhuman abilities. He suppressed a smile as Jenny from marketing walked past his cubicle for the third time that hour, her cheeks flushing as she caught his eye. The pheromones were getting stronger lately, an unexpected side effect of his latest genetic upgrades. "Hey, Chris, got a sec?" His supervisor, Kevin, appeared, tablet in hand. "The client meeting's been moved up to—" A sudden blue light filled the office, cutting Kevin off mid-sentence. Christian's enhanced reflexes kicked in as he felt the familiar tingle of a teleportation field. Not now, he thought. Not here. In a blink, the corporate office vanished. Christian found himself in a vast chamber that seemed to pulse with alien technology. Silvery walls curved overhead, interspersed with pulsing blue veins of energy. The air felt thicker, charged with an unfamiliar electricity. "Welcome, Christian Parker of Earth." He turned to face the voice and momentarily forgot his training. The woman before him was breathtaking, tall and graceful, with skin the color of twilight and hair like liquid silver. Her eyes were an impossible shade of violet, and when she moved, her flowing robe seemed to ripple with starlight. "I am Princess Lyra of the Cillians," she continued, her voice musical yet commanding. "You have been chosen for a mission of utmost importance." Christian's mind raced through protocols and scenarios. This wasn't his first encounter with advanced tech or beautiful women, but alien royalty was admittedly a new one. "Chosen?" He kept his tone neutral, playing the part of the confused programmer. "I'm just an IT guy. There must be some mistake." The princess smiled, a gesture somehow both warm and predatory. "There is no mistake, Mr. Parker. Our genetic scans are quite thorough. You are uniquely qualified to help save my people." Two more figures entered the chamber, and Christian had to consciously control his biological responses. They were clearly the princess's daughters. Both shared her ethereal beauty, though in strikingly different ways. The taller one moved with the fluid grace of a predator, her black hair a stark contrast to her blue skin. Her expression was cool, assessing. The other was shorter, with hair the color of cherry blossoms and a curious gleam in her eyes. "My daughters," Lyra gestured, "Ilya and Miliana." "Your Highnesses," Christian bowed slightly, buying time to analyze the situation. "I'm still not clear on why I'm here." Ilya spoke first, her voice clipped and professional. "Our race faces extinction due to genetic degradation. We require compatible DNA to stabilize our bloodline. You have been selected as an ideal candidate." Miliana rolled her eyes. "Way to make it sound romantic, sis." She flashed Christian a grin that was almost human. "What my sister means is we need your help, and maybe we could get to know each other a little first." "Miliana," the princess warned, though her tone held a hint of amusement. Christian noticed a fourth woman watching from the shadows, tall, willowy, with eyes that seemed to pierce right through him. She stepped forward and he felt the weight of her scrutiny. "My counsel, Narissa," Lyra introduced her. "There's something different about this one," Narissa said, her voice barely above a whisper. She moved closer, and Christian caught a flash of something in her eyes. Desire? Fear? "He radiates an energy I've never encountered before." Christian maintained his facade of confusion, but internally he was on high alert. His pheromones typically had a strong effect on human women. He hadn't anticipated how they might impact aliens. "Perhaps a demonstration of our sincerity is in order," Princess Lyra declared. She gestured and a section of the wall became transparent, revealing the stunning vista of Earth below. Christian's breath caught despite himself. He'd been in space before, but this view was something else entirely. The Cillian ship must have been massive, and their cloaking technology far beyond anything Earth possessed. "We've been watching your planet for some time," Lyra explained, "searching for the right candidate. You are not being given a choice, Mr. Parker, but I hope you will come to see this as an opportunity." Elia stepped closer, her movement drawing his attention. Up close, he could see the subtle patterns in her skin, like swirling galaxies. "You will be well treated," she said, her tone softening slightly. "And your cooperation could mean the survival of an entire civilization." "And who knows," Miliana added with a wink, "you might even enjoy it." Christian allowed himself a small smile. If they only knew what they'd really brought aboard their ship. He was no ordinary human, and this was about to get very interesting. "Well," he said, spreading his hands in a gesture of resignation, "when you put it that way, how can I refuse?" Nerissa's eyes narrowed, and he felt her suspicious gaze following him as Princess Lyra led him deeper into the ship. Already he could sense the subtle shifts in the women's behavior, the way they unconsciously moved closer to him, the dilation of their pupils. His pheromones were beginning to work their magic, and soon these aliens would discover that their perfect candidate was far more than they bargained for. As they walked, Christian caught fragments of conversation between the sisters. "Did you see his muscle structure?" Ilya muttered. "Fascinating. I'll need to run a full spectrum analysis." "Oh, come on," Miliana replied. "He's cute. Can't you think about anything besides science?" "This isn't a date, little sister. This is the future of our people." Christian hid his amusement. If a lifetime of covert ops had taught him anything, it was that the best way to gather intel was to let others underestimate you. As the princesses bickered, he was already mapping the ship's layout, noting security measures, analyzing potential weaknesses. Whatever game these aliens were playing, he intended to stay several steps ahead. And if saving their civilization meant getting closer to the royal family, well, he'd had worse assignments. The princess led them to what appeared to be a luxurious suite. "These will be your quarters," she announced. "Please, make yourself comfortable. We have much to discuss." As the door slid shut behind them, Christian allowed himself a moment to truly take in his situation. He was on an alien ship, surrounded by beautiful blue-skinned women who needed his DNA to save their species. And none of them had any idea what he really was. He smiled to himself. This was going to be one hell of a mission report. Christian lay awake in his new quarters, the alien architecture pulsing with a soft blue glow. His enhanced senses picked up subtle vibrations, the hum of the ship's engines, distant footsteps, conversations just beyond hearing range. He smiled, remembering Princess Lyra's last words before leaving him alone. "Rest well, Mr. Parker. Tomorrow, your new life begins." A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. The door slid open, revealing Lyra herself. She'd changed from her formal robes into something more intimate. The silvery fabric clung to her curves, leaving little to the imagination. "I hope I'm not disturbing you," she said, her violet eyes intense. Christian sat up, letting his training guide his response. "Not at all, Your Highness." She glided toward him, grace in every movement. "Please, call me Lyra. I thought we might discuss your role here more privately." What followed was a night that pushed even Christian's enhanced stamina to its limits. Lyra was as commanding in bed as she was on her throne, and he found himself genuinely impressed by her passion and creativity. When morning came, or what passed for morning on a spaceship, they lay tangled in sheets that seemed to be made from living silk. "You are remarkable," Lyra breathed, tracing patterns on his chest. I've never experienced anything like this. Christian knew it wasn't just flattery. His pheromones had clearly affected her deeply. He could see it in her dilated pupils, feel it in the way she couldn't stop touching him. "The feeling is mutual," he replied, and it wasn't entirely a lie. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. The ship arrived at Australia, the Cillian homeworld, a planet of crystal cities and violet skies. Christian was given a suite in the royal palace, ostensibly to acclimate to his new role. He used the time to gather intelligence, noting the increasing effect his presence had on the Cillian women. Guards lost focus when he passed. Servants found excuses to linger in his presence. Even Ilya, for all her cold professionalism, couldn't entirely hide her reaction. During one of her medical examinations, her hands trembled slightly as she pressed sensors to his skin. "Your physiological readings are unusual," she muttered, more to herself than to him. "Is that a problem?" he asked innocently. She looked up, meeting his eyes for a fraction too long. "No, it's fascinating. You're fascinating." Later that day, he encountered Miliana in the palace gardens. She was more direct in her approach. "So, Earthman," she said, falling into step beside him, "have you tried our fruit yet? Some say it's intoxicating." The innuendo was clear in her voice. Christian plucked a strange, glowing fruit from a nearby tree. "Why don't we find out together?" Their impromptu picnic turned into hours of conversation and laughter, punctuated by increasingly bold flirtation. As the twin suns set, Miliana leaned in close. "You know, on our world, it's not uncommon for royal marriages to be plural." Before he could respond, a sharp voice cut through the twilight. "Miliana, the council requests your presence." Narissa stood at the garden's edge, her expression carefully neutral. But Christian could see the tension in her stance, the barely contained emotion in her eyes. As Miliana reluctantly left, Narissa approached him. "You seem to be adapting well to our world, Mr. Parker. Please, call me Christian." "I'd rather not." Her voice was ice. "I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm watching you." He met her gaze steadily. "I'm just here to help, as requested." "Help? Is that what you call seducing our princess? Turning the heads of her daughters?" Christian's enhanced hearing picked up her elevated heart rate, the slight catch in her breath. His pheromones were affecting her too, despite her hostility, or perhaps because of it. "I sense there's more to your concern than just duty to the crown," he said softly. Narissa's composure cracked for just a moment, revealing a glimpse of raw pain before her mask slammed back into place. She turned on her heel and strode away without another word. That night, unable to sleep, Christian found himself in the palace's vast library. As he browsed the holographic archives, he discovered something startling: records of past attempts by the Cillians to solve their genetic crisis. None had succeeded, but the data showed a pattern. When exposed to his pheromones, Cillian DNA showed signs of stabilization. He was so engrossed in his discovery that he didn't hear Ilya approach. "Couldn't sleep either?" she asked, making him jump slightly. A rare feat for someone with his reflexes. "Just doing some research." He gestured to the floating diagrams. "Your people's history is fascinating." She moved closer, her usual clinical detachment softened by the late hour and the intimate setting. "We've tried so many solutions. None have worked." She looked at him directly. "Until you." The air between them crackled with tension. Christian could see her fighting against the pull of his pheromones, her rational mind warring with her body's response. "Ilya," he said softly, "you don't have to be afraid of what you're feeling." "I'm not afraid," she whispered, but her voice shook slightly. "I'm terrified." What happened next was inevitable. The culmination of days of building tension. Their kiss was electric, unleashing something primal and powerful. As clothing fell away and their bodies entwined among the floating holograms, Christian realized he was losing control of the situation. He was supposed to be gathering intel, maintaining his cover, not genuinely falling for these alien princesses. But as Ilya gasped his name, her cool facade completely shattered, he decided some missions were worth compromising. Dawn found them still in the library, surrounded by scattered data pads and discarded clothing. Ilya traced the muscles of his chest, her scientific curiosity now mixed with intimate knowledge. "I should go," she said reluctantly. "The morning council meeting." The library doors burst open. Miliana stood there, her expression a mix of shock, hurt, and something else. Interest. "Well," she said after a moment, "I guess great minds think alike." What followed was a conversation that would have made even Christian's Project Prometheus handlers blush. By the time they left the library, an understanding had been reached between the three of them, one that would have far-reaching consequences for all involved. As Christian watched the sisters leave, he caught a glimpse of movement in the shadows. Narissa stood watching, her face a mask of barely contained fury and despair. She clutched a datapad to her chest, one containing information that, unknown to Christian, would soon change everything. His mission was becoming more complicated by the hour. But as he thought about the night's discoveries, both scientific and intimate, he couldn't bring himself to regret any of it. After all, saving an alien civilization was just part of the job. Falling for its princesses? That was the unexpected bonus. The morning after his encounter with the princesses, Christian sensed a shift in the palace atmosphere. Guards exchanged tense glances as he passed. Servants hurried away instead of lingering. Something was wrong. He found Lyra in her private chambers, studying a holographic display with a troubled expression. "We need to talk," she said without preamble. "Our scientists have been analyzing your genetic data. You're not what you appear to be, are you, Mr. Parker?" Christian's enhanced senses detected movement behind the ornate screens, palace security, armed and ready. He decided truth was his best option. "No, I'm not, but neither are my intentions harmful." Lyra's violet eyes narrowed. "You're a genetic experiment, a weapon." "I prefer enhanced individual," he replied with a slight smile, "and technically, I'm more of a prototype." Before Lyra could respond, alarms blared throughout the palace. The holographic display flickered, showing multiple explosions in the lower levels. "The princesses!" Lyra gasped. "They're in the research wing." Christian was moving before she finished speaking. His enhanced speed took him through corridors in seconds, each stride covering impossible distances. He arrived at the sealed lab doors just as an explosion rocked the building. Inside, he found chaos. Equipment sparked and smoked. And there, backed against a wall, stood Ilya and Miliana, facing down Narissa, who held some kind of energy weapon. "This ends now," Narissa was saying, her voice tight with emotion. "No more competition, no more divided loyalties." Christian assessed the situation in microseconds. His enhanced mind calculated trajectories, analyzed the weapon's energy signature, mapped potential scenarios. "Narissa," he called out, drawing her attention. "Let's talk about this." She whirled, weapon trained on him. "You! This is all because of you. Your presence has poisoned everything." "My presence has revealed what was already there," he countered, slowly moving closer. "Your feelings for Lyra aren't new, are they?" Narissa's hand trembled. "Centuries. I've loved her for centuries, and then you arrive, with your perfect genetics and your intoxicating pheromones." Christian took another step. "I know about rejection, about being different. Being engineered doesn't make the feelings any less real." "Stay back." Narissa's finger tightened on the trigger. Christian moved faster than any human could, crossing the space between them in a heartbeat. He twisted the weapon from her grip while simultaneously releasing a concentrated burst of pheromones, a capability he'd been holding back. Narissa gasped, her eyes glazing over as the biochemical assault overwhelmed her senses. She swayed, then collapsed into his arms. "What did you do to her?" Ilya demanded, rushing forward. "Pheromone overload," Christian explained. "She'll recover, though she might have quite a headache." Miliana touched his arm gently. "You moved so fast. All this time, you've been holding back." "It's what I was designed to do." Lyra burst in with guards, taking in the scene. Her gaze lingered on Narissa's unconscious form, then moved to Christian. "I suppose we have much to discuss," she said quietly. Hours later, in the palace's secure conference room, Christian finished explaining his true nature to the royal family. He told them about Project Prometheus, about the generations of genetic engineering that had created him. "So you're not just compatible with our DNA," Ilya mused. "You're optimized for it, the perfect solution to our genetic crisis." "More than that," Miliana added, "you're the bridge between our species." Lyra had been quiet throughout the explanation. Now she spoke. "Why didn't you tell us from the beginning?" Christian met her gaze steadily. "Would you have believed me? Sometimes the truth is too fantastic to be accepted without proof." A small smile touched her lips. "And now we have proof indeed." She gestured to a holographic display showing genetic simulations. "Your DNA isn't just stabilizing our genetic code, it's enhancing it. Our scientists predict the next generation will be stronger, faster, potentially even able to control their own pheromone production." "A new species," Ilya breathed, "born from the union of our races." The implications hung in the air between them. Christian looked at each of them, Lyra, regal and wise, Ilya, brilliant and passionate beneath her cool exterior, Miliana, vibrant and fearless. He realized he no longer thought of them as his mission. They were his future. "What about Narissa?" Miliana asked softly. "She'll face consequences," Lyra said, "but with understanding. Her actions came from a place of love, however misguided." "And what about me?" Christian asked. "I'm still technically a secret Earth project. They'll come looking eventually." Epilogue. 1 year later. The great hall of the Cillian Palace was filled with dignitaries from across the galaxy. They had come to witness history, the first royal wedding of its kind, uniting a genetically enhanced human with not one, but two alien princesses. As Christian stood before the assembled crowd, Ilya on one side, Miliana on the other, he caught sight of Narissa among the guests. She gave him a small nod. Forgiveness, acceptance, perhaps even friendship. Lyra performed the ceremony herself, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall. "Today, we celebrate not just a union of hearts, but a union of species. From this day forward, we are no longer just Cillian or human. We are the future." As the crowds cheered and the newlyweds kissed, no one noticed the small green light blinking on Christian's old Earth communicator, buried deep in his quarters. Back on his home planet, Project Prometheus received its final update. Mission status: complete asset. Status: happily compromised recommendation. Close file. Sometimes the best weapons aren't the ones that destroy, but the ones that create something new. And sometimes the best missions are the ones where you don't just save a civilization, you become part of it. Captain's Log, Stardate 2525. From the personal records of Admiral James T. Maxwell, Earth Defense Force. When we initiated Project Prometheus decades ago, our goal was simple: create the perfect human weapon. Instead, we may have accidentally kick-started the galaxy's most complicated dating service. Agent Christian Parker, or should I say, His Royal Highness Prince Christian of Australia, continues to send his reports, though they've become decidedly less formal over time. Last week's transmission included vacation holovids and something called a gender reveal party invitation. Apparently, when you combine enhanced human DNA with Cillian genetics, the results are colorful, literally. The firstborn skin apparently changes hue based on mood. The Cillian Empire has become Earth's strongest ally, though diplomatic meetings are a bit awkward when your chief negotiator is married to both princesses of the realm. The running joke at the Galactic Council is that Earth didn't so much establish diplomatic relations as we became diplomatically related. Project Prometheus has been officially retired. Our new initiative focuses on cultural exchange programs. Turns out there's a waiting list of enhanced agents volunteering for diplomatic missions to Australia. Can't imagine why. As for the pheromone technology, we've classified it as a controlled substance. The last thing we need is for every nightclub in the galaxy to become an interspecies singles bar. Though I hear there's already a thriving black market for what they're calling eau de Christian. Personal note: must remember to stock up on antacids before the next family reunion. Those Cillian human hybrid babies may be adorable, but their ability to crawl on ceilings is unsettling. End log. Postscript. Note to self: check if diplomatic immunity covers changing diapers that might violate the Geneva Convention. Project status: success beyond wildest expectations and several HR guidelines. Unexpected outcomes: intergalactic peace achieved through marriage. Enhanced human biology apparently compatible with alien royal succession laws. Diplomatic protocols now include what to expect when you're expecting a hybrid. Final recommendation: next time, maybe just try online dating first. This report has been redacted, encrypted, and filed under "Be careful what you wish for."